Hello and welcome to today's video. Have you ever felt that true spiritual growth requires something deeper than just external practices? Perhaps the most profound transformations occur within the spaces where we confront and heal our inner wounds. So that's what we're going to talk about today, this inner healing and this path that leads to profound personal growth and spiritual empowerment at the same time. So, what I have found, what I found with students and clients is that people are often looking for a shortcut. So in the Western world, the mainstream world, the shortcut is usually in the form of a prescription. You know, um, that's kind of what we're taught to do: get a diagnosis, get a prescription. I find that that same mentality sort of plays into the spiritual path for people. And I'm specifically talking about using tools um, that are still external or shortcuts. Some of those tools might be things like oracle cards, tarot cards, um, pendulums, crystals, um, plant medicine. Um, let's see, what are some of the other tools that people often use? Those are the ones that come to mind. Now, I'm not saying that those tools aren't helpful or useful. What I'm suggesting is that the real work happens inside. When you get to a space where you can connect to the divine, where you can hear the messages. When I say hear, see, feel, sense, know the messages that are meant for you. And when I use those particular terms, I don't mean with the five senses. I'm talking in particular about what's called the clairs. Clear seeing is clairvoyance. Clear hearing is clairaudience. Clear sensing is clairsentience. Clear knowing is claircognizance. Let's see, did I forget one? Those are kind of some of the main ones. My gifts, I have all of them at different times, but my primary gifts are claircognizance and clairsentience. That means I have a clear knowing and a clear sensing. So when I receive messages from spirit, it's something that I sense. It's something that I sense, or it's something that I just know. I didn't know it, and all of a sudden I do. Um, so when I say hear the messages, I'm meaning that in a metaphorical sense. We all receive messages from spirit, and they come in different forms. The challenge is that most people don't know they're receiving the messages, or if they do receive the messages, they don't know how to interpret them, or they're getting all sorts of clues and they don't know how to put them together. That actually is one of my gifts that came after my spiritual awakening. So anyway, back to the topic. Now, sometimes I enjoy pulling a tarot card or pulling an oracle card or using an external tool. The challenge that people run into is they start relying on these tools without recognizing their own connection to spirit. And the way that you connect to spirit is by healing. The more you heal, the more you can hear. the more you can feel, the more you can know. Um, I believe that all of the pain that have experienced in my human experience was preparing me for the strength that I needed to do the work that I was called to do. Now, everything I went through didn't make any sense if I was just going to be working retail, which is what I did at the very beginning of my journey. It didn't really make any sense if I was just going to go to traditional school. It didn't make any sense if I was just going to work as an office manager. It didn't make any sense if I was just going to be a federal employee. None of it made sense until I was called into my higher work. Then it all began to make sense. All of the pain, all of the suffering, and all of the healing that I have had to go through was to get me prepared for what I was being called to do, which is hold space for a lot of people who've been through a lot of big damn problems. So, what I needed to do was be soul strengthened. That's the term that I have used to better understand what I've gone through. And so, in order to be someone who can hold safe, sacred, non judgmental space for people who've been through hell and back, I needed to have my own journey and go through enough pain and enough healing so that I could create a container and hold a space for whatever my people needed. Now, some of the people who come to me don't have stories like mine. They may not even feel like they've gone through any sort of trauma. That's fine. Because what I've found is that every human I've ever met has gone through some sort of trauma. It never looks the same. It What matters is knowing how it went for that particular person. Anyway, I digress. So it's important to do the inner work in order to get deeper into your spiritual process. I've met a lot of people on this path who look for shortcuts, in particular, using tools, using plant medicine, that kind of thing. And again, I'm not here um, to discount any of the benefits of those things. Plant medicine is not part of my path. And I have talked to clients before who were very committed to plant medicine, whatever that looks like, whether it's, well, I won't even name all of it. What I have found is it's often for a shortcut. They think, oh, let me go do this. I can tap into the spiritual realm. And what often happens is they haven't done their work and they get in trouble. They get sick, they get scared, they get re traumatized because there are a whole lot of people who have jumped on the spiritual bandwagon. I like to call them Spiritual Steve and Spiritual Susie. They jump on these bandwagons thinking it's the quick path, it's like the drive through spirituality. No, just no. The thing is you are not taking the steps that you need in order to get where you're going. So I often use the analogy of a ladder. So if you're someone who hasn't even stepped on the first rung of the ladder, but you are hell bent on getting to rung 10, well, you haven't acquired the skills that you need to get to that 10th rung. So all of these processes that you go through, all of this healing that you go through, all of this pain that you go through that feels like a never ending shitstorm of, cycle, Well, it's a spiral. You go up and you go down. You go up and you go down. And what you find is the more that you heal, the deeper the awareness is on the things that you've experienced. And the pain becomes less, and the experience and the education and the wisdom goes up. So, what starts to happen is pain, 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 pain. I can't see anything but pain. I can't do anything but complain about the pain. But once you start to get a grip on what's happening and you start to actually heal, the pain doesn't stop, but the wisdom goes up. And so your ability to handle it is different. A great analogy I have for this: imagine you are a small child, or there is a small child, and the small child needs to get off of the curb. Right, like this is like a toddler trying to get off the curb or get up on the curb. Okay, can you visualize that with me? They don't yet have the skills to do that. So they might fall down, they might do a header, face plant coming off the curb or going up. Like it's really a struggle. It's really a struggle. It's really a struggle. Whereas if you have an adult, they just walk off the curb or walk up the curb because they have gained the skills that they needed to do that. The child has to face plant a couple of times, unfortunately, to be able to get it right. Now, if we pick the child up every time, pick them up so that they never have to experience that challenge of getting up the curb or off the curb, they won't have the skills that they need. Like they'll be, it's a detriment to them. Do you see what I'm saying? Like they've got to go through some level of challenge in order to learn something. Everything's an education. Everything in life school, earth school, whatever you want to call it, is an education. Because the truth is, you're here for so much more than what you're seeing around you. Your reason for being here as a soul was determined before you got here, and you forgot. And part of doing your work helps you reconnect to it, helps you remember it. And while sometimes it feels like, ooh, let me go pull a card. Let me go pull a card. What is the card telling me? Now, if you're using that for fun, awesome. Using it for a little extra guidance, if you're having trouble putting the pieces together, awesome. But this is not the only thing. When you get still and you get quiet and you connect to spirit, then you can hear what you were called to do. And sometimes what you're called to do is real freaking hard. Let me tell you about my journey. Like I only thought what I experienced on my human journey was hard. What I didn't know is I was going to be called to help people who had gone through things just as bad as me, if not worse. I once had a client who was 5 years out from attempting her checkout of the human experience and had used a particular weapon and it went through her throat. She survived, and the amount of pain that this person was in was extreme. And she needed someone who could hold space for her and not run away, someone who wasn't going to be afraid of her pain. So that helped me see that everything I've been through has strengthened me on my journey. It was believing in the guidance that I was receiving, hearing it, clearing out the path. And that meant I had to look at all my failures. I had to look at all the trauma. I looked at the abuse. I looked at my failed relationships. I looked at all the shadow sides of my life to say, hmm, what is this here to teach me? What do I need to know from this? What is the higher reason for this experience? Can I find it? And there is a lot that you go through internally to get to your higher purpose. So I would invite you to consider every time that you complain about, isn't this over yet? How much more do I have to heal? How much more do I have to do? Because we all do it. Keep in mind that one of my strongest beliefs is that the bigger the holes you've climbed out of, the bigger your purpose. So when you look around and you think, dear God, I would not want another human to experience what I've gone through, then I want you to also remember, what is the bigger reason that I have needed to go through these things? What is it strengthening me for? What is it preparing me for? And continue to do your work and continue to listen, and you will reach a deeper space in your spirituality than you can even imagine. I'm connected with a lot of people who claim the spirituality thing, and they haven't done their work, and they jump on the bandwagon and to help other people in their work. And the truth is, it's not rainbows and unicorns. It's not. It's hard. It's really hard. And sometimes we're not given a choice. We're not given a choice in the pain, and we're not given a choice in the healing. So when we put ourselves in the space of understanding that it's actually for something higher, it's a higher calling, it's a bigger reason that we're here, then it makes the journey easier. Easier is not the right word. It helps you to keep coming back, keep staying on your path, keep doing your work, because you have to remember, like in my case, I was called to serve the people. I was called to create positive global impact, and I was given very specific directions for what I am to do in this lifetime. And if I give up, that means the people that I was called to serve, called to help, don't have the person to help them, because I wasn't called to help everybody. There's a certain group of people that are tuned to the frequency of my voice, and I'm their teacher. And if I don't show up, then they don't get what they need. So I'm inviting you to consider that there are people out there tuned to the frequency of your voice who need you to stay on your path, keep doing your work, and show up. So we all, as lighthouses in the world, begin to shine that light so the other lighthouses know they're not out there alone. We're here to help the people. And the people is who we help when we're shining, but we're also helping the other lighthouses who see us shining, and we go, okay, they're there. I'm not here doing this by myself. There are other people out here. And the more that we shine, the more that we can help the world. So this is Tammy Coin, your Holistic Alchemist. helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. I would invite you to download my free 5-part video series on unboxing your authentic self. It gives you my special process for how I did exactly that. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.